How's it going, guys? This is Mike Ash. Uh, Talking with some friends on a forum. I kind of came to the conclusion that maybe instead of just Mike Ash being the name of my site, I should give it a survival name. So I gave it the name Phoenix Survival, Rising from the Ash. A little cheesy, but I like it. So from now on, I'll probably say, you know, Mike Ash from Phoenix Survival, I guess. I don't know. But what I got for you today is survival uses of baking soda. Basically what I did was I did a lot of cross-referencing. I did a lot of research and looking on the internet for uses and odd and little known uses of baking soda, and then I whittled those down to just survival uses. I got rid of the household items and things like that. Just things that you could use it for in a extended survival situation. I will say that some of these, I'm giving you them because it is an option, but probably would be better performed with a renewable resource that you would have on hand in a survival situation, so you wouldn't waste your finite resources that you have in front of you. Once that's gone, it's gone. So be a little stingy with it and use it just for what you have to use it for. Because I will say it's a little weight prohibitive. This little box right here weighs a pound. I probably would want to bring at least 2 pounds for some of the uses that I'm going to try to use it for. But I will be getting rid of some of the things that it also covers that I'm bringing, like let's say toothpaste and foot powder and things like that, so I could add a little more weight. But I'll say sodium bicarbonate is the scientific name for baking soda. It can be used as an acid. It actually does a rather good job. You take about a teaspoon, add it to a half a cup of water, stir it up real good, and drink it down. It's going to coat your stomach. It's going to start breaking up some of those gas bubbles, and it's going to calm down and neutralize that stomach acid a little bit. It's going to also, in that same task, it's going to keep those acid from getting up into your esophagus, giving you acid reflux or heartburn in general. Okay, toothpaste. I remember this one as a kid, so I mean this one's been around for a long time, but still viable as it was back then. But you just basically take a wet toothbrush, stick it down into the dry baking soda, and then brush your teeth like you normally would. Mouth freshener. Basically, let's say you take a half a teaspoon and add it to a quarter cup of water, and you stir it up real good, and then you gargle with it. Scrub your tongue with your teeth. Swish it around real good. Keep it in there probably for a good minute, and spit it out. But it's gonna take care of the sulfur. It's neutralizing that. It's not just masking a scent. It's going to neutralize the sulfur and other odors that you have. Nobody wants to barter with somebody that's breath is peeling the paint off of their items. So, just take care of it. And it's not a frivolous thing to take care of your breath. We do it now. No reason why in survival we got to get rid of hygiene. Okay, deodorant. Basically, you just take dry amount in your hand, just put a nice little dusting in your hand, wipe it into your armpits. You can do your inner thighs and groin area if you feel like it. but once again, it's going to neutralize odors. It's not just going to mask them. So that's a good thing. Foot powder. Foot powder is a big thing in a survival situation, especially if you're wearing boots that aren't vented well, and you know, obviously you should wear different changes of socks. Wool socks are better; they wick away the moisture. But if you have wet feet, that leads to trench foot. That leads to abscesses and lesions on your skin of your feet, because once it's swollen, once your tissue is swollen with liquid, it becomes very easily rubbed off by any friction whatsoever. So, and also it leads to athlete's foot, which is kind of hard to cure once you get it. So, in a survival situation, you want to think about those things. And you basically the same thing. You just take and dust your feet, especially down in between your toes. Also, footwear deodorizer. You got your boots. You know, obviously you want to dry them out the best you can, day in, day out, and have them close to the fire, kind of allow them to start wicking that moisture away. But another thing you can do to get rid of that, some of that moisture, is to add a little bit of that foot powder in there, and you shake it around, and the leftover, you take it and pour out. And what you got left over, keep that separate. You don't want to add it to anything like your toothpaste, but you still want to not waste it, and you can use it in your shoe the next night. Also, anti-chafing powder. If you got an area that's chafing, once this gets moist, it kind of gets a little slick, and it kind of keeps away some of that friction, but it's an oily kind of slick. And so, I mean, in between your thighs, your groin, let's say on your shoulder, anything where you're chafing, this will help. It also gives relief to bug bites, sunburn, poison ivy, and allergic skin reactions. Basically what you do there is you make a nice paste out of it and apply that coating to that area. You can also make it thicker, make a plaster, put it on there, and wrap it with a bandage. But it does help with those different skin ailments that are very irritating. Tent shelter deodorizer. You can take a little, put it on a plate, put it on in a little bowl or something, put it in the corner of your tent, your lean-to, your shelter, whatever you got there. It's going to get stinky after a while. This is going to absorb and neutralize those odors. Also, pot and pan cleaner, pot and pan and utensil cleaner. You get some. A lot of times you're not going to have oil, so you're going to have stuff caking to your pans pretty readily. You know, this is an abrasive at that point when it's nice and dry. You just pour it on there dry, scrub it, then add water, rinse it all out. Scouring cleaner for cloth, tent, and tarp. You know, you got a dirty tarp, dirty clothing, different things like that, stain, whatever. You could add that to that. You can do it the abrasive way, dry, or you can add a little bit of water and make it semi-abrasive, right down to just a thin solution where you're just trying to neutralize some things. Mildew remover. You know, you're going to start getting mildew build up in your shelter, or maybe on your tarp, tent. Fungus likes to grow in wet conditions, different things like that. So they're not always the best for your health, especially if you start breathing in the dust and spores or anything like that from mildew. So you can take and clean that away with the baking soda. Fire extinguisher, fire smotherer. Uh, I've done this in the house. You pour it on a grease fire in your pan or on your stove where it's spilled over. But it'll also just take out a regular small fire. But once again, there are other things that will take care of that you will have on hand that you probably shouldn't use this for. Your precious baking soda for. But I did want to just say it because it is an option. You can mix it with vinegar to make eggless cakes and breads that rise. This is a recipe I've seen in a couple different areas now. I looked it up and there's actually a lot of recipes for eggless cake where they use vinegar and baking soda together. Kind of like the little experiment you did as a kid with the volcano. And I know you're probably thinking, well, where do I get vinegar? I'm not bringing that with me. It weighs way too much, even though it has some uses. Well, in a bug out situation, it's rather easy to make your own vinegar. I do plan on sometime making that video for you. So know that you can have vinegar for preserving things and medicinal uses and cooking. So that's pretty much the extent of what I have. If you know of some other survival uses, drop me a comment. I'm going to try to be a lot more active now, but I do appreciate it, and I hope everybody has a great Christmas. It's only 6 days away, so thank you for watching.